Thank you, Jamie. Thanks, everybody. How was your day? Okay, I'm predicting it's about to get more entertaining. All right? So we wanted to put a face on inspired learning. And we wanted to do this to inspire our customers and our students. And we were looking for who it was who could truly be this inspiration. So, Mayim Bialik. Okay, some of you may know her as Blossom, or in her most recent role on the hit science comedy, The Big Bang Theory. But Mayim doesn't just play a scientist on TV. She couldn't be satisfied with only being a successful actress. She instead decided to get a Ph.D. in neuroscience. So she's a scientist and a teacher in real life. So her Ph.D. is in neuroscience from UCLA, and she teaches biology and chemistry in her free time. That wasn't enough to keep her busy, so she's also written a book on parenting. Her relationship with Texas Instruments began long ago with a TI-81 and a TI-82 graphing calculator, and you'll probably hear from her that she gives them a lot of credit for helping her through her advanced degrees. She was raised by two teachers, and she is a tremendous enthusiast for TI-Nspire CX. We just could not have found a better person to inspire educators and students about the importance of STEM. So I am just delighted to introduce Mayim Bialik. Please join me in welcoming her here.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Yay, Texas Instruments. Thank you, Melendy. I'm getting over a cold, so forgive me. I'll try and lean real close to the microphone. Can everybody hear me in the back? Yes. Yay, and a whistle. Thank you. I'm very excited. This is my first formal event with partnering with Texas Instruments. And what I've been saying is I don't know if Texas Instruments found me or if I found them. It really is such a natural relationship, and I'm just really honored to be here. As you heard, I was raised by teachers. I have a really strong desire to be part of an educational community, kind of wherever I am in life. And as you all know, it sometimes takes one person to touch a child, to touch a student in a special way and truly inspire them. The way that I actually got interested in science, I figured I'll tell you briefly, and feel free to eat and drink, don't let me stop you. When I was on Blossom, I was 14 to 19, and I had a tutor. She was a young woman who was then a dental student at UCLA. And she answered a want ad that an actress in Hollywood needed a biology tutor. And it was literally this woman who opened my eyes to the beauty and the possibility of a life in science. And before then, I was part of really interesting, academically rigorous classes and coursework, but I never really was touched to believe that I could be a scientist. And it really was this one woman. And I think part of the reason we're all here is that we want to be that person. We have the opportunity when we place ourselves in the situation that you're in, both here and in your careers and in your lives. We have the opportunity to be that one person that teaches a child or a student that they can do it. And that's really why I'm here to honor you and to be part of this wonderful, wonderful conference. I'm also supposed to tell you, do not sleep in tomorrow, because I will be making a surprise appearance and participating in one of the 8:30 a.m. sessions tomorrow. So yay, 8:30 sessions. So you're not allowed to run around and keep checking which one I'm in, but I am going to be making a surprise appearance and participating and showing off some of my Inspire skills. We asked people, or the powers that be, asked people to submit some questions for me. There's a list, and I think that I'm going to be able to pull them up on that screen. So I'm going to answer them now. I will read the name of who submitted the question, and I hope that they'll be of general interest. I'll try and keep them brief-ish. I think there's like 8 questions. And if your question was picked, you are supposed to come with me after this to Ballroom B, I believe. And Melendy's coming up here to show me how to work it. I can work an Inspire, but I may not be able to work this thing. Okay, I can. Question number 1. From Story A, Columbus High School, Columbus, Georgia. What are your thoughts on changing the perception, popularity, etc. of nerdy girls? At the high school level, for example, I begin with plenty of girls on math team, but by their senior year, I normally have 1 or 2 still standing. This is a complicated issue. I think both academically and also publicly. As a public person who portrays a nerdy girl on television, I'm often asked about this kind of stereotyping. And as a woman who went all the way from high school to college and through graduate school as a nerdy girl, it's also something that I think about a lot personally. I don't know that I have the easy answer to what I think is really a cultural and sociological issue and something we should be very concerned about. But I think especially for me, the importance of having female role models was super important. And I think that we can be role models for young students, but also one of the best ways to try and keep that going is to inspire, especially girls, at this critical age, to then know that they are capable, they are competent, and that they can go on and then hopefully inspire someone else. So again, I think it's a much bigger issue, but part of my interest in being involved with Texas Instruments is to put both a female face and also kind of a public popular face on this whole notion of STEM, this whole notion of science doesn't have to be sexy for it to be hip. And I'm happy to make it sexy. That may occur later in the summer. I'm not sure what they have planned. But I think the reality is that these are the kinds of skills that all of our students need, and in particular, female students may need some extra attention with. Question number 2, from Claudia G. What made you... Oh. Hi, Claudia. We met before. What made you so interested in neuroscience that you got your Ph.D. in it? What advice do you have for teachers based on your experiences and your hopes for your sons? I have a 6-year-old and a 3.5-year-old, so they're little. I was originally interested in genetics when I entered UCLA as a freshman, and I looked at the sort of roster of classes that were available. This was right after Blossom ended, so I literally walked off of your television onto the campus of UCLA. And I took a class in psychobiology, and I originally thought I'd be interested more in the psychology part of it. And what I discovered was a beautiful thing called the neuron. And I was one of those people who saw an action potential spiking on a graph, and my heart started fluttering. And I really felt that this was the unit of the human body and brain, and the existence of our species that I wanted to study the most. And so I literally fell in love with the neuron. And I ended up continuing to the Ph.D. program because that's what many of us do when we study something like that as undergrads. I wanted to be a professor. And I know it kind of sounds crazy, but that's really where my heart was. And I'm thrilled. I also still teach neuroscience. That's what I've been teaching consistently since I got my degree. I tutor in our homeschool community is what I do for homeschoolers. What advice do I have for teachers based on my experiences and my hopes for my sons? I'm not a teacher like you are, but I was raised like teachers. My parents have both been educators. Gosh, my whole life. They have a combined 65 some years of teaching in public schools. What I learned from my parents and what I do both as a teacher and with my kids is that every student learns differently. And there may be some that learn in similar groupings, but the importance of finding what inspires each individual student cannot be overemphasized. And I think that's something you all know. You know it more than I do, but that's been my personal experience as a parent as well. You teach each to their own ability, and some kids need a lot of bells and whistles and some don't, but it's our challenge to draw that out in each individual student. That's just been my experience. Question number 3. Yay, Allie C. from Lafayette High School, Lexington, Kentucky. Do you carry a TI graphing calculator in your purse? And if so, which one? So my husband and I met in calculus class in college, true story. And we each brought a TI to the marriage. It was a mixed marriage. I had an 81 and he had an 82. These days, I roll with the T-Nspire CX. I'm working on mastering the Nspire now. It's very different, from my TI-81 and our TI-82, which we still have and use, and just loaned actually to a friend of ours whose son just started needing it in high school. And she had a feeling my husband and I would still have our old TI, and we said, we do, it works, and we have the manual. Next question. Question 4, Bryson P. From Lafayette High School in Lexington, Kentucky. What edition was your first TI graphing calculator? As I said, we had the TI-81 and the 82 in the dark blue. Question 5, Jennifer M. from Parkway North High School in St. Louis, Mo. I have heard that you have the most educational background on the show. Yes. And help the writers with accuracy. How long does it take to rehearse the shows with the cast? Do you all like to geek out when on break between takes? I'm going to take these sentences in progression. It is true that Jim Parsons, who plays Sheldon, says that I am the only person on our cast who understands everyone's lines. We have a really fantastic consultant for Big Bang Theory. He's a professor at UCLA. His name's David Saltzberg, Dr. Saltzberg. And he's the physics expert, but he also knows a lot about other sciences. But there's a lot of specifics of neuroscience and neurobiology that he and I will sometimes confer on. And I was trained in chemistry and in biology and in physics and in biochemistry and organic chemistry and also inorganic. So my training is very rich, and I worked specifically in neuropsychiatry and neuropsychology, so I get to think about the script for everybody's lines, and I like to check every week what's on the physics board, in the guy's apartment. It's always a new equation you can check. How long does it take to rehearse the shows with the cast? So we work a 5-day week. We get the script the night before our first day of rehearsal. And we rehearse 3 half days. Every day we get revisions to the script. Sometimes we get a lot of revisions, sometimes we get a few. So you can't memorize the script on the first day because it's gonna keep changing. Day 4, we do practice with the cameras. We use 4 cameras for our show. And sometimes we will pre-tape episodes, like if you've ever seen an episode that has a green screen behind it, like if we're in a car, or if there's some unusual effect, we will tape those on our 4th day. And the 5th day, we work like an 11-hour day, and we tape in front of a live studio audience. And a lot of people think that our laughs are canned, but to be quite honest, what sounds fake sometimes about laughs is that they have to edit them, meaning sometimes laughs go longer than we'd expect, but you can't have a show that has audiences at home watching a screen with people laughing for 30 seconds. It's not interesting at all. So a lot of times our editor will have to cut the sound so that we can move on with the lines, and that's often what sounds like it's been placed in there when actually it's just been kind of ended so we can go on. Do you all like to geek out when on break between takes? I do. I'm a comic book fan. I was raised with a love for comic books and science fiction, and there's a comic book store set on the Big Bang Theory set that we sometimes have, and that is my favorite place to hang out because we get new merchandise every time there's a new set. So like 1 week we'll have, like, if the comic book set's there, it'll be all Batman stuff, and then we'll get a whole Star Wars set. And I once was trying to show Jim Parsons this comic book called Why the Last Man that I really like, and he said, I only play this character. I don't want to know about that stuff. That's a true story. Okay. Question 6 from Tony N. from Corpus Christi, Texas. Yay, Corpus Christi. What is your favorite mathematical or science concept that you have used on the TI-Nspire? You know, I'm a person for whom the abstract was really difficult. I know some students it comes really naturally, certain concepts, but I think that was one of the things that I really always loved about my calculator, my graphing calculator. But the Nspire in particular is so much more dynamic. The fact that it has color, the fact that it can basically do things in live action. I've really enjoyed playing around with the sine and cosine waves. That was always something that, you know, I remember drawing 1,000,000 times, but to be able to see it in this representation with the different colors, it actually really helped me. And I was saying, if I had the Nspire, I think I could have made it to med school. I'm very angry that I didn't have it then. Instead, I kind of chugged along, but anyway. Okay. Question number 7. I think that's Daniel, maybe, Daniel L. from Oregon. As a person who's excelled in many areas outside of math and science, what mathematical concept or lesson has made the biggest impact in these other areas of your life? How can we as teachers present this topic in a relevant, meaningful way to our students? You know, I think that the thing that I see used a tremendous amount, even in non-science-y circles and just kind of in the real world, if I had to pick one thing, it would be percentages. And the ability for me as an adult to be able to calculate percentages, obviously in my head, is super interesting, I think, and important if you're shopping. It does come in handy. But I think for me, percentages are such a great representation of parts and wholes. You can teach fractions from it. You can teach ratios from it. It's a true relationship also that exists so much in the real world. And I think, you know, I don't know how many word problems, you know, how many times I heard the phrase word problems in my life as a math student. But I think it's one of those things that, that is very important to master, and I think also has very, very tangible examples that can be used. It's just kind of one of my personal favorites. This is the nerdiest conversation ever. What's your favorite math concept? Melendy L. from Dallas, Texas, says, so Mayim, how do you really feel about the TI-Nspire CX? I think I've covered most of it. You know, we just had a really nice presentation for a couple local high schools, and you know, one of the students wanted a picture with the calculator, not with me. And honestly, it was amazing. Like, I know why I'm here, but it was such an amazing moment to see a student say, wow, it's in color. It's amazing. And honestly, it is amazing. You know, the world is a big, big place. The world is a complicated place for students today, for kids. It's complicated for adults as well. But I'm so happy to be part of this partnership that values teachers so much as such an important part of being able to change lives. I believe very strongly in why I'm here, and I really feel wonderful about the Nspire CX. Thanks for the great questions. Thank you.